invade Deltora and enslave his people. All that stands against him is the magic belt of Deltora with its 7 gems of great and mysterious power. And the gems are stolen and hidden in dark, terrible places throughout the kingdom. The Shadow Lord triumphs, and Deltora is lost. That is also kind of a cool thing. This is one of the few times you actually do see, like, the actual villain.
The bad guy wins.
The bad guy wins.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the prologue starts, and it's been centuries since Aiden had his belt, and the kings of Deltora, kings and queens of Deltora, do not wear the belt anymore.
And that is mostly because of the rule.
The rule, yes. Because all of the advisors of the king are secretly shape-shifting servants of the Shadow Lord, and so they've been slowly poisoning the people against the king to the point that the power of the Belt of Deltora is broken, and then the Shadow Lord's, vicious
7 Akbaba, which are these
like giant vulture
dragony
things.
Yeah.
Steal the gems and scatter them across Deltora. Now, it's very... The Shadow Lord is so, extra. It's unreal. Because it's like, you want these gems to never be found again. Because if they are found by Aiden's true heir and put back on the Belt of Deltora in their correct order, then the Shadow Lord cannot penetrate into Deltora anymore. He's lost a big chunk of his territory and stuff. And what does he do? He has his Akbaba drop them in areas.
The funny thing is, if I recall in the book, he doesn't tell the Akbaba where to put him. The Akbaba just drops him where they think, maybe this would be a good place to put this.
Well, almost all of them have a specific guardian.
Yeah.
Especially the last one.
Yeah, the last one does.
If I was the Shadow Lord, and it's like the Shadow Lord is like Dr. Evil. Because, Dr. Evil's captures Austin Powers, and it's like, I'm going to put him in a room with a floor of lava guarded by one inept guard, and, they'll be fine. And then his son's like, I'll go into my room and get a gun right now. We can just shoot him. And they're like, that's not how this works, Scott. If I was the Shadow Lord, I'd be like, okay, Akbaba, drop them into the ocean.
Then we don't get a story.
We also don't get a story if King Elstrad is the one.
Yeah, it was
actually exercised.
It was the there's a meme along the Deltora Quest Reddit.
Yes,
I guess I don't get on Reddit, so.
Well, it's a picture of a humongous book, and it's 3 feet thick, and it's the Deltora Quest series. And then next to it is a picture of a book that's like an inch thick, and it says the Deltora Quest series of King Elstrad exercise.
King Elstrad, you find out, was the
yes,
grandson of Aiden. And the reason they were losing power to the belt is because he got too fat. And so he, because I guess the belt was hurting his little belly.
His little tum-tum.
So the advisor says, you know what, maybe you should only wear that for special occasions and stuff. But then the daughter started emulating it, and it just kept on getting less and less and less. The belt was getting worn to the point that it's just like, okay, then you only got to wear it once in your life when you become king.
Yeah, that's
or
it.
Queen,
and you become the monarch.
So that progresses for years until we get to part 1, where we get to King Endon and Jared. Now
Jared is his best friend.
The funny thing was, now Jared's dad served the army and stuff. But when I was re-listening to the book this morning, I was I kind of noticed this. It's he was given to King Endon to keep him company. So it's just the kid's gonna see him as his brother, but everybody else gonna say that's a nice slave right there. You got
yes,
King Endon.
Yeah, very much so. And as they grow up, the palace is totally, completely isolated from real life. The king never leaves.
He signs every paper that's input in front of him.
I don't even think he signs it. I think
he does sign it. He does stamp it with the ring, but the problem is He just has to sign and do it. Everything else is done by the advisor.
Because it's very much like, Jared. Jared wants.
Because he ends up...
He reads the book, the Belt of Del Toro.
After... because there was a point after King and Endon's father passes away, Jared sees that Endon is sad and all that stuff and wants to help his friend. Well, he was bored one day and decides to go to the library. And ends up discovering the Book of Del Toro. Which completely looks like it was... Nobody found it. It has been hidden forever. Because, I guess, nobody...
Maybe hidden by Joseph.
Yes,
greatest hero of all.
Yes, who will show up in book series 2,
yeah.
The Unsung Hero, Joseph. Actually, I think was Joseph in King's reign. I think it was.
I think he was the librarian during
King. So it may have been
so
Joseph.
So
it was Joseph.
I'm just gonna put this away over here.
Yeah. So after that was Alton. I think it was Alton.
Well, Alton is Endon's dad.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Yeah. No. It was after. It was before Endon, a little bit before Endon. Yeah, became king. So it was Alton. So he left during Alton's reign.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll get there.
We'll get there. So after what was that? So he discovers the Book of Del Toro, and we learn a little bit about the.
Well, he realizes the true nature of the belt.
Yeah.
And that King Endon needs to wear it all of the time. And to this end, what's the name of Endon's advisor right now? Prandine. Yeah, and the Prandine is able to turn Endon against Jared, and Jared has to flee the palace. Then he lives as a blacksmith for several years. Because the first king of Del Toro was a blacksmith, all further kings of Del Toro are trained as a blacksmith.
And that's actually kind of cool. I thought that the funny thing was, it was one would think, why keep that up? Especially where
it comes in handy later.
It does come in handy. It sure does come in handy. But yeah, there's a point. Jared, after he reads about the Book of Del Toro and all that, he goes to find Endon, and Endon is just there in the chapel crying about his father. And he's like, "You need to go get the belt. You need to put it on." It starts explaining everything to Endon. And he's like, "But the rule,
the rule, Brandine's rule says no."
And then
but I wonder because it's like. Endon and Jared were, best friends, brothers, essentially. And when he goes and talks to Endon, and Endon is in the, the what's it called, the temple or whatever.
Yeah, the chapel.
The chapel. Crying over his dead father, which he should. But he doesn't want to listen to Jared at all. And I always thought, he's your best friend. Why would he lie to you? You're not being reasonable at all. And then in the third series, Endon is standing over the Sister of the South.
Let's
spoil all this stuff. Who cares?
Okay, fine.
He's standing over top. He doesn't know this.
Yeah.
He's standing over top.
So
he's getting the full dose of the total misery that the song of the Sister of the South is.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, this makes sense now why he was so unwilling to listen to his best friend. Because he'd been in the chapel all day.
Yeah. And also, after, everything happens, Prandine, Prandine shows up and basically just calls Jared out, saying, "He has a knife! Come to me, King Endon, and I shall protect you!" Kind of, flips over his, kind of flashes it, his cape over.
Come into my bosom.
Come into my bosom. And, kind of Dracula's him, into his cape.
Yeah.
And starts yelling, "Murderer! Murderer! Gods! Gods!" So the reason we are doing the voice is because we got, before we can go a little further, we have to talk about Ron Hedrick.
Yeah, the
So,
narrator.
The narrator who does the the audiobooks. And he is
Fantastic. He sadly died.
he has passed away.
Ago.
The best way I describe him, he sounds like a fake Patrick Stewart.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like a fake Patrick Stewart, but he does it well enough. It sounds like my grandfather is sitting there telling me a story and trying to act it out.
And like when he reads the story, like he does effective voice for different characters, like Prandine is very much this way when he does it. And he'll lighten his voice when he's talking as Jasmine,
who we will talk about here a little bit.
And it's like, I'm just, when he talks as Barda, that is Barda's voice to me. That is Barda the Bear. Barda
the Bear! So after like Prandine gets him and starts yelling for everything, I forgot to mention, there's also a point to where he starts talking to Endon. Jared starts talking to Endon about how he doesn't see the people. He is so out of touch with everybody because he can look out through the window and everything looks glorious and all that.
Yeah, and it's because as far as he knows, according to because it's like he'll ask Prandine, "Are the people all right?" The people are great, Your Majesty.
Never better. Don't worry about that.
Everybody's suffering. Monsters rule the land.
Yeah, so
a witch has been ruling in the north for a century.
Yeah, so after
everything's gone to pot.
Yeah, and we'll get into that.
Yeah,
we'll probably into the next book. Yeah. So after Prandine basically just kind of ends up tricking Endon, and Jared just runs. Yeah, I mean he does everything he can to them, but before he leaves,
he stays as close as he can.
He stays as close as he can. Also to jump back, Jared and Endon always talk to each other through code. Yeah. And so before it's and that was another cool thing about the series. Just the little odds and ends and the codes and just little puzzles and stuff they did.
Didn't he leave him a coded note in a tree that they?
Yes, it was the main tree where they always hang out, and he had and he posted at the top where it would be found eventually if Endon actually did it. Well, eventually, so after he flat out escapes, he ends up leaving in the food carts, where in the scraps.
The food carts from Norazir. We'll get there.
Yeah. Third book. So after he escapes and gets into the actual, I wouldn't even say it's a town anymore. I'd say it's regressed a village?
It's like a shanty town around the palace of Dell.
Yeah, and it's at the bottom of the hill. Yeah. It's Dell's on top of the hill. And basically and once he gets out, he sees it. His eyes are open. It is famine, destruction.
The once great city of Dell is a slum.
Yeah, it is it's exactly what you would see in a medieval pestilent village of just reeked with famine, poverty and everything else. Hard times have hit. Crops aren't growing. Everything that happens bad is happening.
You say hard times, and I'm just thinking, that's the road with a hard time, Betty.
Then
I love professional wrestling, but
after he escapes and sees everything that happens, somehow he wanders himself into a blacksmith, into a forge.
Now, is it Aiden's forge?
To be fair, I don't think it was. It was just a forge. And I can't even remember.
He ends up marrying the daughter of the blacksmith.
Yeah, and
the blacksmith dies, and then
he finds out that apparently for years, and I mean for
for centuries.
Yeah, that the people of Dell have been trying to ask their king for help, but they keep getting the same exact note,
Yeah.
word for
The
word.
king has read your request and is considering things. Thank you for writing. King
So and so, and
Gildan,
with the
King Autumn, King Brandon.